All right, our guest today spent his entire NFL career in the state of Ohio, first with the Bengals and then with the Browns. Well, there's a caveat to that, but he really should have his own chili special named after him at Skyline. NFL Network analyst and our pal, Andrew Hawkins. What's happening, Hawk?
Not too much, man. Appreciate you having me, man.
By the way, I realized I did that intro and I realized you played one day with the Rams.
Yeah. Technically, I was in a Rams practice jersey for one day, and I had about, I think, 16 days with the Patriots before I retired. So technically, Super Bowls are nothing new to the teams I played for, Sal.
Yeah. So there's a chance when you make the Hall of Fame, you'll go in with the Rams bust, right?
Yeah, there's a big debate about it. We're not quite sure where I'm going to lean, so we'll figure it out when the time comes.
Okay, good. I wanted to ask you. You began your career with the Bengals. It really is a tale of two different franchises, right? This game, Rams, massive billion-dollar facility. Bengals, not so much. What have you heard? How could you explain how Cincinnati's different from the other deep-pocketed franchises around the league?
You know what? I always explain it like, I feel like a lot of ownership groups have made their money elsewhere and then come into football, right? Mm-hmm. The Brown family has made their money in football. This is their family business, and it's kind of run that way, and they just of the notion that eventually our time will come, and it's hard to argue because here we are, and none of us expected it, and their time has finally come. I grew up a Bengals fan because my brother was drafted there in 1998, and so at the moment I started really getting into NFL football, in the heart of Steeler country, whereas my whole family are Steelers fans.
Right.
Here I was, the young guy, I like the Bengals better. And so I kind of continued that and eventually played for them. And yeah, they do things differently, man. I mean, you talk about, saving money. There's not many places that do it to the likes of the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah. Shaq, that's blasphemous, right? All his brothers, his whole family is Steelers fans, and he goes against the grain.
He made his bed, and he's been laying in it for a long time, and he'll continue to. But Hawk, what can we learn from the Bengals in the copycat league here? What can the other, 30-ish franchises glean from this Bengals? I mean, it's funny how we move on from everybody's in the predictive business, and 0.0% of all expert predictors foresaw the Bengals playing in this Super Bowl.
0.0.
What can we learn on the other side of the Super Bowl for the other franchises to apply to their team?
Yeah, I mean, if you can draft Joe Burrow, maybe put a time machine to go back and get Joe Burrow, that would probably be the biggest point of emphasis and advice that I could give you. I think Joe Burrow is just special, man. If you look at all the Super Bowls, once every 20 years, you can get a game manager in there if you build a juggernaut team around them. And, I won't call him a game manager, but I'll say an above average, but that happens from time to time with your Shendilfers or your Joe Flacco's, no disrespect. And, the jury is still out where I'm putting Matt Stafford. Or the other option is to get a Hall of Fame quarterback. And then you have a really, really good chance of going to and winning the Super Bowl.
Whew, I'm glad you said no disrespect about Flacco, because otherwise he would hear about it and be offended about the disrespect.
But now, because of that, we're all good.
Yes.
But Joe Burrow, I think, is the latter. I think that he's going to put together a Hall of Fame career. I feel like even last year, they won 4 games. But if you watch Joe Burrow and you didn't come away from any game you seen him play being like, oh, shit, that guy's pretty good, then you don't know anything about football. And I think it's only continued. I haven't met very many people who dislike Joe Burrow. Actually, I've never heard one person say they dislike him. Mm-hmm. And I think he honestly might be the most likable player in the NFL for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
So, you say the secret is, draft a Hall of Fame quarterback, draft a first-round quarterback. Well, the Detroit Lions did that. And it was just, it's the other guy starting for the Rams this year with Matthew Stafford when they drafted a quarterback with the first overall pick, or at least attempted to try to do that. Mm-hmm. And like you said, Joe Burrow, you watch him play, there's no denying, he's got it. But he's not super fast. You know what I'm saying? He's not what is it about him, from a football perspective, that guys like us who weren't in huddles, when you look at all his measurables or whatever, it doesn't necessarily stack up. But then when you watch him play, it's no, I'd rather have this guy than a lot of other guys on the field, no matter hands down. What is it as a player that Burrow can bring to the table?
I think it's a couple of things, man. I think just from, if we really break down how even the mind of, I think, NFL players work, we talk about the it factor. And that is a thing. Joe Burrow, the first thing I thought when I met Joe Burrow, I interviewed him at the Combine. And I interviewed him and I interviewed, Justin Herbert, who was a little on the, what I realize now is probably socially awkward side. But at the time, it came across like, oh, this guy is, he doesn't want to talk. He's kind of like, he's very quiet. If you don't know how he is personality-wise, and nobody did at the time,
right?
Don't really know what to expect of it. But then you meet Burrow, and he's not campaigning for himself. He's not trying to be cool. He's not trying to show confidence. But it just radiates off the dude, man. Like, you could just tell he genuinely thinks he's as good as you do, right? Like, he knows that about himself. Very self-deprecating. Nothing got to him. You make jokes. He didn't take any kind of way. You could just see. And I remember talking with the Bengals coach right after having that interview. Did you interview Joe Burrow? This is before they drafted him. I'm like, the players are going to love him. And he's like, right. And he just lights up because you could tell he knew the same thing. And so that confidence can be taught. I think that's instilled in somebody early on. This is a person, right? In life, we all have our insecurities. That kind of confidence is rare. I think he has that. That's one thing. Number two is he does have ability. Like, his ability to throw the football, his accuracy is top notch from those perspectives. He's not Lamar Jackson fast or anything.
Right.
But he does have the tangible to also match up to that. And I think the third thing is him coming from the game of football. His father played football. And a lot of people's fathers played football or sports. And honestly, if you probably did a poll, you'll probably see in the NFL, if I was to guess, I'd say probably 40% have either cousin, brother, uncle, dad, grandfather who also played probably at the Division I or NFL level. And that's just kind of genetics. But what that does is in real estate, real estate tycoons' kids are probably really good at real estate because they're hearing it at such a young age. They're thinking beyond what the typical normal thing is. And I think for Joe Burrow's dad being a player and a coach specifically, that combination that he just understands football. You can see it in the way he plays. Coaches make adjustments, but he also makes adjustments as players. Like, his offensive line is not great, but you'll see in a game, he'll start to roll out of the pocket or he'll start to get rid of the football just by himself because he knows and has seen now what a defense is doing, his ability to adjust because he understands football so well. And I think it plays into the confidence. And he's just the kind of a perfect equation for what the Bengals needed. And that's why they're in the position they're in.
Yeah, you talk about fathers and uncles and, familial relationships. There's a nice moment on Twitter, you and your son. Now, you had promised him if the Browns or Bengals ever make the Super Bowl that you're going, and it's going to be both of your first Super Bowl to attend. Now, my question for you is, why haven't you left yet? You have to beat this traffic, and are his teachers cool with taking him out of school for 3 days this week so that you can beat that traffic?
Two-part. Number one, he's homeschooled. So my wife is his teacher. She's good with it. Number two, I live in Los Angeles. So we're already here. We beat the traffic. We're here.
You did?
We're here. So we're good. And number three, I've given him the option. I don't know if he's going to go. We're going to decide soon because we've been in a pandemic. Like I said, we're living in Los Angeles. All our family is across the country. And it's his 10th birthday on February 15th. And so I'm like, well, look, we could spend X amount of thousands of dollars to fly everyone out here, or you can go to the Super Bowl. What would you pick? And he said, easy, family.
Really?
He said, they have Joe Burrow. They'll be back to the Super Bowl again. Trust me. I'm like,
wow.
Oh, you're playing with fire, kid. But we're gonna decide how we're gonna spend this a crazy amounts of money that it's gonna cost old dad.
He may resent the family if you don't get back, right? I mean, I hope this doesn't backfire.
Hey, it's not my problem, man. It'll be his.
Shaq, speaking of the pandemic, we went out. We took Hawk out to lunch, although I don't think he ate, right? We took him out to lunch. I think it was, you said it was your first outing, probably about June. I don't know.
Yeah.
All the crazy shit went down in March. It was probably June. We were all where were we, in Larchmont, wearing masks outside, and now looking back at that, it seems so silly. Oh no, wait, we haven't. We're still doing the same thing.
Yeah, we are still doing that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Answer for family though. Your family, Joe Thomas specifically. He went at, or didn't go at, Ryan Clark, but Ryan Clark made a punchy statement early in Super Bowl week saying that Russell Wilson isn't that guy on some level, isn't the franchise QB, isn't an all-time great, I guess is how he put it. Do you counsel any of these teams out there, the team you turned your back on, the Steelers, your former Browns, whichever, in need of a QB potentially? Do you go after Russell Wilson? Do you go after Aaron Rodgers? Or are you a draft guy, to your point about Joe Burrow?
All right. So first off, when you said "at" with your Yinzer accent, I wasn't sure if you were saying "out" or "at." So I had to wait to the end of it to see where we were going.
Yeah, dude. I don't know why you like them brownies and why we're for the Bengals. The Bengals ain't nothing compared to Pittsburgh Steelers. Hey, good luck in the Super Bowl, Jens, because if you win one, then you only got 5 more to go to catch us.
Exactly. I think old Ryan Clark been out there in Pittsburgh too long because he thinks that Russell Wilson ain't the guy. He's the guy, all right. He's next up in line. No, but I think Russell Wilson is legit, man. I think he is like. I think Ryan is wrong. Ryan is my guy. Love him, brother, big brother. But I think he could be more wrong. I think Russell Wilson is the guy. I think if your team has the ability to get Russell Wilson, it doesn't matter who it is. It's almost an immediate upgrade. There's not very many teams where I wouldn't take Russell Wilson over who they have currently. Even though it doesn't seem like it matches up. I think the standard of success, if you're looking at a Tom Brady, everybody pales in comparison to that. But Russell Wilson is consistent. He has been good for a very, very long time under a lot of circumstances. You haven't really seen him have a really super down, just terrible year. And I think that's rare. I think he's like top 5 all time and QBR or whatever. That's not easy. I played for Cleveland. Joe played for Cleveland. Mm-hmm. I feel like we're more experts on quarterbacks than Ryan Clark is, right? I mean, he's spoiled. You have Big Ben. Big Ben was pretty good. All right. So yeah, I get it. But no, Russell Wilson is the man.
So quarterbacks get all the attention, obviously. In this game, you got 2, number 1 overall picks, but you have Jamar Chase, you have Cooper Kupp, you have Odell Beckham, and then, Boyd and Higgins for the Bengals. You played wide receiver. Is it a key that you have to have an elite level wide receiver to contend for a Super Bowl? Because
yeah, I don't think you need a elite level wide receiver. I think you need you need variety. You need a couple of pretty good wide receivers because you have to have the ability to go elsewhere when they take an option away. And I think that's what makes the Bengals special is they can't take Jamar Chase away because they have another number 1 receiver on the other side. And Tyler Boyd was the leading receiver for this franchise for a number of years. And Uzama comes on to tight end. So if you have a quarterback like Joe and you give him all these options, there's always an answer to the test. And I actually don't subscribe to the notion that you need this, top 1 or 2 receivers to make it happen. They're helpful if you can get another guy on the other side. But I mean, I'm sure you've heard it a million times. Like very rarely is the guy who's the highest paid receiver in football, walked away with a Lombardi trophy. Right. And even Cooper Kupp, who is amazing and a beast. To your point, he's had
Marty was trying to do a got check there, but Hawk.
No, I wanted to ask the opinion of a man who's laced them up, been on the field, caught passes, done touchdown dances.
QB, obviously, left tackle, shut down corner, edge rusher.
Not a has-been, is doing right now, or used to do very well. How about that?
I'll be a has-been. I'm not gonna shout.
No, I was calling Dave the has-been, not you.
Has-been. We're all never was. How about that?
Be honest,
all right, listen, Hawk has to leave, but I want his prediction. Who is going to win men's downhill slalom? You like the Norwegian kid? No, Super Bowl. What are you going with?
I like Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. I got them winning 31-28. The Rams come out hot early on. Ooh. And I think in typical Bengals fashion, they adjust and they make a late game surge and end up winning 31-28 on the Evan McPherson game-winning field goal kick.
Why not? Right? Oh, high scoring. Okay, so the Bengals and the over. I like that, Hawk. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. And how was it sitting next to Bonetta for a year? She doesn't bathe. Not a lot of people know that. But
yeah, no, it was weird. It was good we had masks on because I couldn't smell her as much.
Good.
But she's amazing, man. I mean, I don't know if I've had more fun on the show than I've had with sitting next to Rachel because she is truly hilarious.
That's great. All right.
Now, Hawk, I got to say real quick, thanks for wearing a hat today because when we were both patrolling the halls of NFL Network, we had the coldest waves out. And I'm not ready. I'm not prepared. And I'm not there yet. So I appreciate you not blowing me out of the water on my own show. Thank you so much.
I'm 35 now. And so the my density isn't quite what it used to be. So now you're gonna see your boy in a lot more hats than I typically
Okay. All right, I'll hold it down. Let me get back right. I'm gonna be right by Sunday. You know, big game, big waves. I'll be ready.
All right,
Big
let's
time.
start a GoFundMe, get Hawks dignity back if we can. Andrew Hawkins, NFL Network analyst. Follow him on Twitter at Hawk. Comprehensive Super Bowl 56 coverage all week long. Thanks for joining us, Hawk. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, fellas.
All right.